Welcome to the Bridge of Truth. I recently had the opportunity to attend a wonderful event called the Circle of Light Holistic and Wellness Expo. Several speakers gave workshops on various aspects of personal empowerment and spirituality, and each provided those who attended with valuable information from their particular field of expertise. I was invited to film the event, and I am very pleased to be able to share excerpts from their workshops with you. I hope you enjoy our presentation.
People don't seem to realize that it's not what you think, it's what you feel. Deserve level, self-esteem is a feeling, it's not a thought. I mean, how many times have you said, you know, I have very strong thoughts for you, or would you say I have very strong feelings for you? It's all about feelings. Life is a feeling experience. If anybody here saw that DVD, The Secret, they heard what's his name, Michael Beckwith say, it's a feeling experience. And he's right, it's a feeling experience. Everything is feeling, it's not thought. And there's anybody who wants to give me their email, some of you have received it already. I will send you a video that came to me by the little grandmother, and it's 24 minutes long. And it moved me to tears. She was in tears while she was talking about planet Earth. But you see, what that told me was it's feeling. Everything is feeling. And if you feel you deserve a good relationship, if you feel you deserve a lot of money, if you feel you deserve excellent health, if you feel, you're going to receive. That's the whole ticket, is a feeling. Do you think you'd ever find Donald Trump's kids working in Burger King or McDonald's? I doubt it. Why? It has nothing to do with how much money Donald has. It has nothing to do with anything but the way they think and the way they feel. And I told this friend of mine up in Connecticut who was coming down today, but her car went south on her. And she's a Mary Kay director. And I said, Paula, I said, tell your unit. I said, when they get a thought, hold on to that thought for a day or two. I said, then jump up and down. She said, why jump up and down? I said, because then the thought becomes a feeling. I said, and then after the day or two, jump up and down some more. She said, why? I said, because then it goes to your feet and you take action. That's the whole thing. You've got to take action on your thoughts. Let's talk about success. I was at a party many years ago, and there was a man standing there raving and ranting about how much he hated his job. He said, I hate my job. He said, I can't stand it. He said, the only day of the week I have that's good is Friday afternoon and Saturday. And so I heard this, and that piqued my curiosity, so I went up to him and I said, why Friday afternoon and Saturday? He said, Friday afternoon I'm getting out of work for the weekend. He said, Saturday I have off. I said, what about Sundays? He said, I start to go south again because Monday's coming up. I said, well, why don't you leave it? He said, I earn $100,000 a year. I said, how much longer do you have before you retire? He said, 10 years. I said, 10 years? He's not going to make it. He's not going to make 10 years. Damn fool. Then I'm going out to Long Island to do a seminar for Mary Kay Cosmetics, and I go through this toll booth, and there's a little kid sitting there with corn braids in his hair, listening to his music, taking tolls. And I said, do you enjoy your job? He said, I love my job. I said, how much do you earn? He said, 35. I said, 35,000? He said, yeah. He said, 35,000. He said, I sit here in my office. He said, I got windows all around. I'm listening to my music, and I'm paying people money. He said, I love it. Now tell me, who was more successful? Him or the guy that was moaning and groaning about the 100,000? See, success is an experience. It's not how much you have. Success is realization of a worthy goal as you're moving toward it. That's what success is. But so many people think, well, he's successful. I mean, there's a guy dying of ulcers, you know, with a fat bank account, but he can't do anything with it because he's half dead. And then you got the spiritual people that are really spiritual and really, you know, into everything, but they're broke. There's a balance. There's a balance of everything. But the balance comes from the way you feel, not from the way you think, although thought is part of it. See, you can think a lot of things, but if you don't feel like you can say, I think I deserve a brand new Mercedes 600, which is a nice thought. But if you don't feel it, you're not going to get it. And if you do feel it, you have a much better chance of getting it because life is a feeling experience. Look at a newborn baby. Take a newborn baby and hold the baby like this. And you go, and the arms and legs go shooting out. Okay? And then you go like this, ah! And the arms and legs go shooting out. It's feeling. And also, those are the only two fears that we're born with. We are born with two fears and only two fears: loud noise and falling. We are born with nothing else. We are not born afraid of snakes. You hold a newborn baby and you say, there's a snake down there. You think the baby cares? If you turn a baby on its stomach and looks down and sees a snake, it'll probably want to go down and play with it. Okay? Babies are not born afraid of snakes. They're not afraid of the dark. I mean, God, they just spent 9 months in the darkest place. How can they be afraid of the dark? Do they have phobias? Absolutely not. They don't have phobias. Okay. Are they afraid to get involved with another person? Of course not. Babies run around naked. I mean, babies aren't afraid of anything. And people will look at the baby and they'll say, oh my God, look at that, a miracle. It's a miracle. But is that baby any more of a miracle than any one of us? We just got bigger, that's all. We just got bigger. People had, what a miracle. How many times have you heard somebody say, look at that miracle walking down the street? I've never heard it. See, it's all in the way you feel about yourself. When you begin to realize that you are a miracle, when you begin to realize that you can do anything, when you begin to realize what Oprah did, when you begin to realize that you can overcome anything because you are a human spirit in a body. And spirits are perfect. You are perfect. People will say, well, you're not perfect. You got this. Everybody's perfect. The only imperfection, in any human being is their thoughts. Okay, that's the only imperfection. And what it leads to. I don't know if anybody here has ever heard of Zig Ziglar, who's a very famous speaker. Okay, now Zig gets about $100,000 for an hour talk. I can't wait till I'm there, but because I'll do 2 hours a week. But anyway, what he said is you're what you are and you're where you are because of what's gone into your mind. That you can change what you are, change where you are, by changing what goes into your mind. Now that's very simple because most people set the alarm to wake up. And they set the alarm on the hour or the half hour. What's on the radio during the hour or the half hour? News. And what are you going to wake up? You wake up hearing about how many bodies they found floating in the East River. Okay, you wake up hearing about how many people were dislodged from their homes because of a fire. You wake up hearing about how some guy shot his wife or his wife shot her husband. I mean, you wake up to this. What kind of a day are you supposed to have if you wake up to that? Really, what kind of a day? It's going to suck, let's be honest, it really is. Because you go out of the house feeling down. And the reason you feel down is because of what you put into your mind. It's very simple. And there's a little movie, if any of you have a computer, just when you get up in the morning, walk into the bathroom, which most people do, some run, but most people walk into the bathroom, depending on the urgency. Stop in front of the mirror, look into your own eyes, and say, I love you, 10 times. I couldn't do it. It took me 2 weeks before I could do it 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. And say it with feeling. Look into your eyes and use your name. I love you. And say it like you really mean it. And after about a week or so, you are going to really mean it. But that'll change the way you feel. And the second thing I recommend doing is turning on your computer and putting in this. Numbers 212movie.com. Now, I've sent that to some people. And what it does, it comes on with really upbeat, positive music. And then there's a big picture of steam. And then under the steam, the number is 211 come up. And it said at 211 degrees, water is very hot. And then that fades. And then 212 comes in. And it says at 212 degrees, water boils. And boiling water causes steam. And steam can propel a locomotive. 1 degree makes the difference. 1 degree. And that's powerful. To me, that's powerful. If you tell yourself you love yourself and then you watch that, you're all set to go out the door and kick some butt. I'm serious. No matter what it is that you do, you're all set to go out and do it. But if you're just going to get up and listen to how many people died in the fire in Philadelphia, or right next door, I mean, you're not going to have a great day. Everything is in you. If your mind tells you can, you can. If your mind tells you you deserve something, you deserve something. If your mind creates the feeling. So first you have to get the thoughts. Now everything I'm talking to you now is not a feeling, it's a thought. But if you go over this and over this and over this, it'll become a feeling. And when it becomes a feeling, it becomes real. And when it becomes real, then you automatically do it. Each and every one of you has a song playing inside of you. Each and every one of you. There are no exceptions. And before you go to the next experience, it's like Joanne said, don't take your dreams to heaven. Share that song with other people. Let it out, because that's what you came here for. We didn't just show up here. We came here for a reason. And as soon as you find that reason, jump on it. And it's not to make 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 a year, although that helps. Okay, it's to be happy with your life and look forward to getting up in it. Thank you very much.
One of the things that I say to people when I am teaching a class or doing a workshop, I ask a question. And the question is, are you committed or are you just interested? And it's the same thing, you know, when people want to join a gym or anything, you know, are you just going to give it a shot or are you committed? If you're committed and you learn just the basics of what I'm going to talk about today, you've got a tool for the rest of your life that when you bump into things that you want to change, I've seen incredible results with this tool. One of the best things that I came across is something called EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And they call it acupuncture without needles. And what you do is you make statements as you are tapping these various acupuncture points. And it moves the energy in the body, but more importantly, it helps you to get rid of the resistance. Because you may be talking to Venus, and you may be asking for abundance in your life. But there's some belief system that's stuck in there saying, yeah, right, how am I going to get it? You know? So those things get in the way. We've been conditioned. It depends, you know, what school of thought you come from. But you could say that you're conditioned from your parents, from your peers, your environment, and still are. You could also look at it in part like I do. When I look at an astrology chart, I say, this is a script you wrote before you were born. And you handed a copy out to everybody who agreed to be in it. But you are the main character in this play. You wrote it. So you are the producer, the director, and the main character. So you can make changes. But you can only make changes for yourself. And in doing so, you give other people permission to make their own changes. There's one story that I tell everybody this story because it's kind of leaves us with no excuse. You know, we're great with excuses of why we don't tap or why we can't change. Pat Carrington, who is a psychologist in South Jersey and an EFT practitioner, had this story on her newsletter. She answered the phone this day, and there was a lady on the phone, very articulate, and she had this discussion with her, and at the end, she asked her how she got interested in EFT. A woman had called about a conference, and she told her the story. And the story is that when she was born, they crushed her skull and created some brain damage. And many years ago, and they didn't do the things that they do today, so, you know, when she started school, they just sent her off to school, and she couldn't focus and concentrate. She just had little areas where she'd come home from school and sleep for hours. And that's how her life went. She never knew if she was here or there with a focus. She goes into adulthood. Well, anyway, she outlines all these difficulties that she had. She gets to 60 years old. 60 years. And somebody tells her about EFT. And she said the problem was that her concentration wasn't that good, so she couldn't remember if she was tapping the right spots and what she was supposed to say. So, but she decided that she would do it anyway. And so she, you know, kept tapping, and she said she'd do it in the bathroom, she'd do it anytime she thought about it. Well, the reality is that now she's having this conversation with Pat Carrington, and she is fully normal. And I said if she could do that with this tool, that she'd been in this state for all those years, then imagine what we could do with it. The thing that threw me the most was when Sophie was teething. Now, how old are they when they're teething? And she ran 103 fever, and I'm looking to see if there's any baby Tylenol. I couldn't find any. And trying to call her mother on the cell phone. So I'm holding her, and she's restless and crying and got this fever. So I said, okay. So I propped her up, and sometimes babies don't like you to tap on them. So I tapped on myself, and I said, nice, Sophie. Even though I'm teething, I don't really need to have this fever. My body intelligence can take care of this because I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I went through this round. Then I took the temperature again, and it went from 103 to 102. And I thought, or maybe I didn't take it right, you know? So I did another session, and this time I said, Mommy loves me, Daddy loves me, I'm in a wonderful environment, and anything else I could think of. I took it again, went down to 101, went down to 100. As I'm tapping, and I'm like, oh my God, it was, you know, pretty amazing. Now, let's think about this. This is a baby that isn't using reason. So, you know, some people, like my son, gets very scientific, you know? Well, how do you know? I mean, what are you doing? Are you projecting this energy? I said, who cares as long as it works? And the thing is, it does work. Let's start with relationships, because this is how I go with relationships. We're going to start with the karate chop. Everybody's got a copy of the points. Look at them later, not now. Just watch me and go through it. So we start off with the karate chop. And even though I haven't always had the best relationship with myself, let's say it. I'm choosing to do that now.
I'm choosing to do that now.
Because I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Okay, 2 fingers on the inside of the eyebrow. I haven't always had the best relationship with myself. Not good relationship with myself. I'm choosing to change that now. I'm choosing to love myself. I'm choosing to honor myself. This feels really good. And I usually end like this, and that's the truth. I take a deep breath. I circle the aura, and I come back to a prayer position, and I let it sink in there. And then, depending on one's life, and believe me, when you're tapping for this, it doesn't matter if you're in the most wonderful relationship under the sun, or you don't have the particular problem. It's called borrowing benefits. You still benefit by tapping with it. So, we start off. Even though my relationships have never been as good as I want, and probably because I didn't have the best relationship with myself, I'm changing that now. I'm having the best relationship with myself, and that will bring the best relationships into my life. I like this idea. I like this change in me. I know I will attract the best relationships. Loving relationships. Friendship relationships. All kinds of relationships. And that's the truth. Breath. Now, of course, if we were doing this with a practitioner or you're having an intense problem, you would then, I would ask you, did anything come up when you were doing this, a memory or a thought? And sometimes people say, oh yeah, and then I would tap on that particular issue so that you get rid of it, you know? Now, let's go for, what's the next one? What do you want?
Money.
Money, okay. Even though there's a part of me that isn't sure that I believe that I can attract abundance, I'm choosing to change that belief right now. deserve to have abundance.
I deserve to have abundance.
I'm allowing myself.
I'm allowing myself.
I'm allowing the money to flow into my life
I'm allowing the money to flow
in
into
the
my
most
life
positive way.
in the most positive way.
I deserve it.
I deserve it.
I can feel it.
I can feel it.
I'm allowing the abundance in my life.
I'm allowing the abundance in my life.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
Breath. Okay? Now, even though haven't always experienced
Even though I have
perfect health, my body intelligence knows how to do it.
my body intelligence knows how to do it.
I love my body.
I love my body.
I have always been kind to it,
I have always been kind to
but
it.
I'm choosing to love it now.
But I'm choosing to love it now.
I'm choosing to be healthy.
I'm choosing to be healthy.
Every cell in my body is listening to this.
Every cell in my body is listening to
Every cell and every organ is responding.
Every cell and every organ is responding.
I claim perfect health.
I claim perfect health.
Every organ, every cell in my body.
Every organ, every cell in my body.
I choose to be perfectly healthy.
I choose to be perfectly healthy.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
Breath. Now, I will be available afterwards to answer any questions. As I said, this is a short lecture, but I hope I've titillated your mind to explore both planetary situations, the EFT. You've always got your hand with you. Sometimes I stop at a light and I just tap, if I'm going somewhere or I'm thinking about something. And every morning when you get up, you have to go to the bathroom. And most people take a shower. And when you're in the shower, this is going to be a great day, a wonderful day. I attract the best things today. I'm the best me I can be, and that's the truth. And you do it every day, and the brain says, okay, let's be. Thank you.
Frequently, I think we've all asked our question from time and again. This question, it's, what am I here? What am I doing here? And I know that we are here for one of two reasons, either to grow spiritually or to help others grow spiritually. And that's what we do here on this earth plane. Now, I'd like to begin this journey by talking really about who we are. And we begin with our soul. And our soul comes, of course, from the divine. And then we have a spirit that really is it takes our soul and it brings our soul into the world. It is a vehicle. Our spirit is a vehicle for our soul. And our spirit then has a mind. We have mind. So mind is a vehicle for spirit. So we move from our soul into spirit, and then our spirit uses mind. And our brain is a vehicle for the mind, because our mind is not in this little head of ours. Our mind exists out here. It exists in our aura, or perhaps even our aura exists in mind. And it's with mind that a medium connects with those people who are in the spirit world. How does a medium do that? So a medium will raise their energy, they will raise their vibrations in order to meet the vibrations of those in spirit. But the people in spirit have to also lower their vibrations. And this is how that meeting comes. And this is where we begin to join, and we can have communication with our friends and loved ones in the spirit. So we come to grow spiritually or to help others grow spiritually. And when we move into the spirit world, we understand that the first thing that happens is it's a period of rest, it's a period of reunion, and it's a period of adjustment. So all people, and people will say to me, well, what about people who have done horrible things? What about people who have intentionally hurt other people? Everyone who moves into spirit is met by their loved ones, their friends, and also by wise beings. And in this, they begin to adjust to life in spirit. And this first period in spirit runs from about 1 to 6 months. So people will say, my loved one just passed, can you contact them? And sometimes we can, but for the most part, frequently, it's at that 1 to 6 month or 3 to 6 month period that they're just adjusting to things. So it's not that they don't love you or that they're not around you, because this is what people wonder. It's that it's an adjustment period for them. And then we move into that period of what we would call self-knowledge and assessment. And so it would be at this time that their whole life would be put out in front of them. And they would be able to see this life in a very, I always say with a 360-degree perspective, just with an ability to see what they did, what they didn't do, and how that affected other people. And it also affected how it affected themselves. And it affected the world as a whole, because, even the smallest thing we do does affect everyone. And so it's during this period of self-knowledge and assessment that they begin to learn. Now, enlightened souls will meet us or them at that time. And they will help them. They will help us with the assessment period and also the understanding period. This would be the time. And this period goes on for years and years and years. Of course, we remember that there really is no time in spirit. The time is a human construct. It's here. In spirit, there's no time. So, but this in our human time goes on for a long time. And it's during this period, frequently, that a medium is going to be able to contact your loved ones. Because it's during this period that they're assessing their life, and they want to reconnect with people here. They want to kind of build a bridge. And it might be during this time, and people will frequently say to me, I'm beginning to feel my husband around me, or I'm beginning to feel my mother when I cook her favorite sauce. I feel her moving close. And that's because they're in this period here of assessment and self-knowledge. And what they want to do is they want to reestablish a relationship with those loved ones here. And they want to build that bridge, because it's a different relationship. Even those of us who do this work, we understand and we know without a shadow of a doubt that we're contacting people in spirit. But when we lose a person, they're not here. We lose their physical presence. We lose that physical companionship. So our loved ones in spirit want to reestablish that connection with us. Frequently they also come. They might have some things to clarify why they did something, how you're feeling about it. And then sometimes they come and experience and express remorse, or they just really say they're sorry. Now, there's always a little aside here for me with this. While I certainly think forgiveness is a wonderful thing for us, for those of us who need to forgive, but just because a person comes to you from spirit and asks to be forgiven doesn't mean that you have to do it. Because you have to be able to do it in your time, when you're ready. And it may be now, it may be, I worked with a woman who was well into her 80s, and she was finally able to forgive her mother for something, because I was working with her, and the mother began to explain things to her. So she was ready. The first two steps are really talking about adjustment and assessment, and kind of really getting used to being in spirit and connecting with those here. That's why it's such a wonderful thing when people here come to a medium, because you're allowing your loved one to have a voice. And without a medium, they frequently don't have a voice. Okay. It is a very wonderful thing to do this, because as much as we want to give you the affirmation that we really are working with your loved one, we get that also too, over and over again. And I have to say, I've been doing this a long time, and still, every single breathing I do, every single contact I do, I'm in awe of it. And I'm just overwhelmed by it. And it's such a privilege to do this kind of work. Okay. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you for coming. My name is Lisa Bellini. I'm a Reiki master and ordained minister. I channeled in a modality called the Crystal Pyramid Technique during a time period when I was disabled. I went from living a very active life, working full-time, raising a child, coming home and doing everything a wife does, right? We cook, we go do shopping, we do laundry, to be bedbound 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was the most traumatic time of my life. I felt worthless as a human being, as a mother, as a wife. I had to walk with a cane. I had burrs and screws in my back. But out of all that traumatic 4-year period came what I call the Crystal Pyramid Technique, which is actually a crystal healing. The first level, you heal yourself. We have the ability to heal ourselves. When we're born, every organ, every muscle, every nerve, every cell within our body carries an optimum vibration. Throughout life, the pain of being upset and being lied to and the lack of trust brings down that vibration. This is when disease sets in. If you have been hurt many times, you have a lot of pain in your heart. This is one of the main reasons why women are getting breast cancer. It slowly moves from one layer of the aura to another and then moves into the physical body. If a person is going through financial problems, they'll have lower back pain. Yeah, I have a lot of financial problems, $1,500 a month for pharmaceutical drugs. That was doing nothing for me. And today, we have, in 2006, we had 2.7 million children on Adderall, Strattera, Ritalin, antidepressants. They are drugging our children and closing them down. Because the child is so open with the crown energetically, and the child is sitting in the classroom, they're really intelligent, they're bored. And so, yeah, we have it. Let's move on to another subject, and the teacher will talk about it again. Okay, let's move it. Then the teacher will talk about it again. These kids are very sensitive and they're very intuitive. They can tell if you're lying to them. What I have found is, especially in the first generation and the second generation, that we had to change ourselves to conform to society. And all of our beliefs were stored within our heart or within our mind, and this was a subject that was not talked about. If we were sensitive, we were crazy. Yeah. Why? Because, oh, come on, you can't, that person is just angry with you or upset with you. No, but it's more than that. And this is where the children come in. How many times we were attacked or there was conflict, we would keep our mouth shut, or there would be a point where the information was lost. It shut down, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of saying what was on our mind or trying to retain that information in the middle of an argument, 15 minutes later, we retained the information. We were right. But did we say anything? No. What did we do instead? We replayed the scenario over and over and over in our minds. Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say that? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? It would have been easier to confront the person, but we don't like conflict. So we stay away from conflict, right? Well, this is what our children are doing as well. And this is, it's got to stop. We have to realize that our children are very sensitive. They can pick up on emotions. They can pick up if we're lying to them. I always tell parents, plenty of communication in a home, respect, trust, but unconditional love is the most important key. These children, the children will not take conditions on love. And love should not hold a condition. We should love with our hearts and love freely. There shouldn't be a condition on love. If you do this, I'm not going to bother with you anymore. If you go out with that person, I'm going to disown you. We need to follow our hearts. We are different people than our parents were. But I'm also finding that a lot of the parents have their own spiritual experiences. They just kept it to themselves. We are also empathic. I have the ability to feel what my client is feeling. And people who are looking for answers to their questions can relate with a person who has experienced it. Psychologists will go black and white. We don't need black and white. We are going into undiscovered territory here. Undiscovered for them, but a way of living for us. And so these kids and these teenagers and these adults who are going through these things, they need to see people who have experienced it, who knows what it's like to grow up with these abilities. If they're having stomach problems, I pick up the stomach problems. If they're having arm pain, I'm picking up that arm pain, leg pain. And they said, my God, coming to you is better than going to a doctor. Doctors look at me and think I'm crazy. He said, but you're actually feeling what I'm feeling. And so I start to work on those particular areas of the body. If the chakras are out of balance, blocked, not spinning correctly, it will create problems with any one of those chakras. It will affect you physically, mentally, emotionally. The root, if the root is not opened and spinning, a person will get leg pain or lower back pain. The hara, or the sacral, which is the second one, if that is not spinning correctly, you'll have lower abdominal pain. Men, I believe, it's connected to their pancreas, and women to their reproductive system. Well, believe it or not, that's also where our creativity lies. So you will not get that inspiration to be creative. If the solar plexus is unbalanced, it will create problems in the digestive system, right? But it will also stop you from being in your power. So if you do want to say no to someone, even though you could pick up their disappointment, because as a child, I was very sensitive. And I knew that if I said no to somebody, that person would be really disappointed. So of course I said yes, even when I wanted to say no. But if that is blocked and imbalanced, we won't be able to stand in our power. Today I can say no and not think twice about it. The heart, if the heart is unbalanced, we won't be able to love other people. But what's worse is we won't be able to love ourselves. That's connected to the heart and to the lungs. And this is why a lot of women are getting breast cancer. They're holding on to anger that they had from childhood. They keep these memories and they think back upon these memories. We need to get to a place where we can tell a story about an argument I had with my sister 20 years ago, but there won't be that emotional charge. I won't start crying over that argument, or I won't get angry over that argument. Our throat, if our throat is blocked and unbalanced, a person won't be able to speak. Like I'm speaking here today without anything to look down on. I'm speaking from my heart. You won't be able to speak that truth. But it'll also affect your throat, your gums, your teeth. Your third eye is connected to your eyes, your ears. And if that's unbalanced, you don't see through the veils. You're not that intuitive. We have that gut feeling. People need to start learning to follow that gut feeling. Our crown, if that is completely shut down, a person can die within 3 days. Did you know that? If it's unbalanced, this is where our nervous system will be affected. And our mind will not be able to hold that concentration. But we also lose that divine love. We feel as if God does not love us. Our next chakra, which is the 8th chakra, carries our soul purpose. The 9th chakra connects us to the Akashic zone. Everything is written out within the Akashic zone. There is a reason for the people that we meet, when we meet them, and how we meet them. There may be unfinished business, or there may be a purpose for the two of you to come together and do something. There is work to be done. There's a contract between a lot of people that you come across in life. We need to get back to God, bring Him into our lives, bring the angels into our lives. We are born with a guide, a teacher, a protector, but people don't call upon them anymore. So we really need to come back to that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you would like further information or contact details for any of our speakers, please visit the show page for this broadcast on our website. I also invite you to join Enter the Bridge, our online community where you can help to make a difference. I look forward to seeing you there. This is Leone wishing that all your journeys be truthful. Till the next time we meet on the Bridge of Truth.